Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a program called SortTables, and it's a data analysis tool that I developed maybe 3 years ago, and we're updating it. And one of the things we're doing is changing the way you select a table to operate on in, well, we're using SQLite, but it could be any SQL if we wanted to go that far. But we've got a new way of selecting tables, but we haven't actually got it turned on. So we select tables, we select fields, we pass that back to the UI kit kind of topmost layer, and we do nothing. So today we're going to focus on updating that new selection. Now, it's not going to accommodate joins yet. We haven't addressed those and how they're looking and all that, but I think getting the tables going will be a good first step. All right, I heard the test just finished, so that's good. All right, so we are in, well, at the top, we're at the database view. Let's see, so all tables. So if there are tables, we show the all tables view and the many tables view. Many tables is the old one and all tables is the new one. So let's go down to that. Notice it's passing the selections in, database and selections. All right, and let's see. So then one table view. We really need to break these up into separate files too, just to get things a little organized. All right, so there we have a table selection, and that's the buttons. Let's run it. But anyway, it's the buttons for selecting a table in or out, or selecting a column in or out. I keep saying class because my example data is class registration for a festival. So, I get mixed up with the object term all the time with that. All right. And you can turn them on or off. That's all good. Okay. Now, how it gets connected in, well, let's start here. Okay, TableController. It has our function configure database view, all right, which initializes the table selections and then opens up, let's see, where is this? Maybe mixing them up. Okay, yeah, here's configure database. So this triggers the call of configure database view between the UI kit and us. All right, we got the table selection, and then we use this config controller and tell it to call database view, passes in the database model, passes in the current selection, and then when it's done, it opens the database view model. But the thing we haven't done is we haven't made the database view model update based on the updated selection. So selection is happening standalone right now. We want to tie it in. And I think that's going to go right here. And I don't have a good testing mechanism for doing this. It can be done with UIKit, I gather. I may have done some at some point. But these kind of view places, I tend not to test so much. This is going to be more than a one-liner, so I don't know. We'll see. But let's look at DatabaseViewModel. All right, so the thing with DatabaseViewModel, if I'm on the right one, well, no. Let's get to the actual DatabaseViewModel. Okay. This model is the database. It knows the database, the tables, the joins, all that stuff. And the thing I think we can do is create a ConfigMemento based on the contents of our table names that we just selected in or out and our selected columns that we just put in or out. And eventually the joins. Once we have those, we can create a table, a database view model. So given a memento, we can create a table. Given a memento, we can create a database view model. and that's what the front end wants to display from. So in the background, you can see the one that's sort of the in-memory one, but when we configure this, it should load up from the class table, say. All right, now well, this leaves holes in my understanding of things, I'll say, but this config model is just a struct and it's marked codable so that you can write it out as JSON and put it in a file and stuff like that. So in effect, you're creating a database configuration here, and you can write it to a file and then open it. All right, so that's all we're doing there. Yeah, just data, no logic. It's hard to test, and it's in the UI. So yeah, it's not much of a thing, but like somewhere we have to get all the pieces, right? The format defaults, that's fine. I don't know, the database name, you would think we have it somewhere, but it's not in our table selection. Now, whether it could or should be, well, the other thing is I introduced another notion. Let's go back here. I think we have database selection, which contains table selection. So database selection, that one, well, I don't know how it updates. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. It is a reasonable place for us to know that we're on test2db, say. It doesn't, and I don't know where it's finding that now. I guess maybe file name? Let's go back here. Database view. I mean, the naming is probably wrong. This probably is configure database view. All right. Who knows the database name? There's that. That's the list of them. Okay, current is the current database. Okay, so we have the information here. See, nothing's going on here. I don't know if we have to pass that back. I guess we must, right? I mean, there's no... All right, let's... So let's see here, database, all tables US table selections. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe we have to get the database selection in there too. Okay, all tables view took that. What did the whole thing take? It takes database selection. Okay, well, if it has database selection, then we can update that. Oh, table selections. This, okay. One change of current. Model database name. Well, our database selection should know that too. Okay, let's go from there. So, let's see. What I'm saying is database selection, which is the thing that's going to hold the table selections, should know the database name. We don't tell it, and we don't even know it. I mean, we don't track it. So I'd like to do that in here. And database selection, well, let's put published var database name equals empty for starters. Okay. Now that should not break anybody. I don't know. There's enough in this dance. Should be possible to switch databases with the same config. It's the same view. Yeah, so you can switch databases in this view. It was a little drop down, and when you select it, I think what we want to happen is when current, which I'll name that current database. Okay, I think this is going to be a more clear name. All right, when that changes, I think database selection should update database name equals current database. Okay, and so that will go back. See if I get the flow of this right. Yeah, so when too much. All right. That's open. Let's find configure. Okay, configure database. Right. So this controller creates or displays the instance of DatabaseView, having passed in the DatabaseViewModel and the database selection. When it comes back, it can do things. I mean, let's just make sure we're getting things water through the pipes here, just with a database config db equals, and let's put database selection dot. You're supposed to help me here. Database name. Okay. So let's run that. And if we come out of this, which I still don't like the way we do, which is just tap the background, but create a database config. Now, there's no print. I mean, this is other stuff. Changing these things. Let's change this to test. Okay. Well, these instrument name. All right. And I'll turn off these tables. And when I click the background, I should get printed that this is test.db. Yes. Okay. Good. All right. So we now have the information, at least the minimal information, to create. Where's the DatabaseViewModel? I kind of wish it would wrap the tabs in multiple lines. Just one more line is all I need. All right, but now we have this supported format is constant. Database name we can get from the database selection. Table names we can get from the database selection. One of these is the duplicate of the other, and column names we can get from the selection, and we can't get joins yet. Okay. Should the selection be saved when the database changes? Well, that's a good question. Let me. I'm gonna get through, and then we'll decide. It certainly would be a nicer experience, I guess. Whether it's worth it for the time, I don't know. Create database view model with a DatabaseViewModel. That's what I actually want to do at this point. But it raises a good question. Where should we save config when database selection changes? E.g. in local storage, yeah. That is one of those nice things to do, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it feels like a bit of work, but it might be worth it. I think there's other things I'll probably want to do first, but it's definitely a nice touch from a UI point of view. Okay, so I guess what I'm going to do is, let me move this over. I think I will attempt. Okay, so how about var memento equals one of these. Oh, I can do that, huh? All right. Yeah, let's take it. Okay, so I'll just format this a little. Okay. And then if that worked, we would assign it view model equals database view model with config memento. Okay, so I guess we'll need this. The format is this. Supported format. Okay. Maybe that name could be better. So much stuff could be better. Okay, this one, let's take database selection dot table selections. This thing is going to be the same. All right, so this is $0 dot name, and that really is table name. Again, there might be a better name. Call can throw, but is not marked. Okay, let's pull this out. Well, maybe not. I'll just try and get it going here and then worry about it. The columns is kind of the same. We're going to go through the table selections and then we're going to map it to well, let's see, with table selections dot. No, we're going to map each one to $0 dot columns. No, dot selected columns. Okay, and this is empty. And I have to force myself to look at these things. Return the sequence of the elements sorted. Okay, and that comes from a set. Right, provided they're comparable. Oh no, I'm just missing a comma. Okay. Okay, do we need the table name as a key? Well, for better or worse, And I think because these things like a very flat map, we did it this way, but it you could certainly argue that we should do it. It it might have been better to say this was a dictionary of table name to selected column, but that's not actually the structure we have. So what we have is the tables need to come in the same order in table names and selected columns, which is definitely not ideal. And maybe the way we use table names, I don't even know if we needed to do that. So that's a good critique of database view, well, of this, and probably of the way this works with it. I don't know if we can tell. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably another to do. And I think you're right on that one. It really should be should be a map, because I mean, even like it's going into a JSON format. JSON's completely fine with maps. All right, so I think the pieces are there. I'll just let it run and see what happens. Yeah, I know. Um, uh, sure, far with left, that's fine. Right now, I don't allow these. I don't know how I'm catching any errors here. Can I do this? Does it get rid of the warning? Maybe. All right, so in here, we've got test.db. I'm going to change this to test just so we can check that we're doing that. Class instrument, I'm going to leave these three out, or these two out. I'm not going to do any other tables. Now, really, the current model, the old model anyway, it would complain if you had three tables with no joins, because it needs to see how they're all related. So this should actually produce something with three columns: instrument name and time slot, probably in that order from the class table. All right, so this click should do it. Oh, something has gone wrong. Okay, probably that stupid try. Okay, let's cover that. Where's my configure database? Okay. Oh, something's very wrong. It didn't even print the database. Now I'm confused. Well, it's not even running. Oh, it is running. I don't know if I get any. It's sucking up CPU like crazy. That's probably my video. All right, let me run it again. Let's put a break here. All right, so go in here, create a database config, deselect these two, change this to test, which is slightly annoying because they're so similar. And let's turn off these fields. Let's turn off that one too, so we should get two. Oh, I probably have to say open database now. Okay. Open DB button. Ooh. That's not encouraging. So, and then if I click away, does it do it? Oh. What? Okay. Create a database config. Here it is. Okay, test2DB will be fine. All right, then when I say open database, I don't know what happens. And then when I select the background, I should trigger that other code, this code. Now is that cannot open file? Okay, dbconfig is test2 cannot open file. Some weird error down in here. Oh, okay. Okay, well, one thing I can see, I don't know if... Okay, one thing I'm going to do is I can certainly pull out this ConfigMemento formation thing that can be on database selection. So let's make that happen first. All right, DatabaseConfigMemento, database selection. So let's open that one. Database selection. Okay, and let's give it some, let's give it a function to memento produces a database config memento and pull it out of here. Let's pull this out. DatabaseViewModel equals DatabaseView of database selection dot to memento. Down here. Okay. That's a step forward. Not much of a step. Okay, this is now self. Okay. Well, let me capture it. I don't know if it'll print for me or not, but let's do that at least. Okay, so now, I mean, that's the kind of thing I should have done in the first place, I think. This object has the information, so we didn't need to let the view deal with that. All right. And now I think we do memento. Okay, so we're just calling to memento. This seems to be okay. It's getting what we want. All right, open database, DatabaseViewModel. And I think we'll stop there. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so open database config will, well, let's show person this time. Just one column in testdb2, test2.db. All right. So what I expect when I click open database, I think it should call something. It will get a little message about we open database. I don't think it does anything until I click away, which we need to fix. All right. It's already got problems. Oh no, here we go. DatabaseMemento. Whoops. The format is fine. Test2DB per class, person registration, effective names, class, person registration. Oh, it shouldn't take all the classes. Selected columns, instrument name, time slot ID, name. It did select the one we said it should, but I don't think that explains. See, this stuff, this is a low-level complaint coming from, I think it's coming from the SQLite access. But I think part of it is the table names really should be the selected table names, not any selected tables. So in table selection, we didn't look at includes table, so we should filter by that. Okay. Now can we get... Table metadata has a little work to set up too. Is the DB name missing? Well, actually, yeah, we're stopped right where we want to answer that question. So let's look at DatabaseViewModel. DatabaseViewModel. We'll say it could have an arbitrary amount of stuff, but it should have the database in here. Database name test2.db. Okay. But I think I don't know if having the three tables in there would create this problem. It doesn't seem like... let's see. Okay, the name is testdb2. All tables. All tables query. Inner query nil. I don't know if that's anything. Oh, okay. So this is just... I think it boils down to our query for where type equals table. So it's a query to get the tables. Cancelables. I'm still not happy about that, but okay. Database name. Current value test2db. So it's got publisher, even though it doesn't really need to publish anything. Messages. Active tables. I don't think can do anything. Active joins. Configuration file name. All right. Well, I think we can test our Memento stuff at this stage. Do I believe database selection? I believe database selection is its own object at this point. So let's find table selection. Table selection. Are you going to show me where? Down in database. I guess it's kind of an interface, so it's a little weird to be it's a little less obvious where to put it, I guess, but let's put this next to it. I think that's at least as defensible as anything. Okay, so let's make a class database selection. He probably needs foundation, yeah. Okay, that feels like a move forward. Anything coming out of here feels like a move forward. Okay. Now the other thing that I noticed in that, let's see, should include the data name. Oh, sorry, I missed your comment here. Should the path include the DB name? Path goes to documents. It is. Well, that's certainly a possibility. So yeah, so if we are trying to open this and not that plus test2.db, then that would explain it. Yeah, let's pursue that. I guess I missed your comment before I went to extracting. Where is the open? Let's see. So that. I think this should be the old one. Config file name. DatabaseViewModel. Yeah, it's interesting. From DatabaseViewModel, you don't really get to see the full database name. It only knows this. So is that opening it? Database name. Config.database name. Okay, that's the test2.db. And then, so we initialize. Are we opening it? Well, if somebody asks for the database name, SQL database interprets the database name. Does it? Let's see what it does with it. Okay, it gets the database name. It sets the name. Self.query database name. I don't know, is that implicit or not? I mean, it does all tables query and it's going right to it. I got the name from the config. I think, well, somebody's making the decision that it's in the documents folder. So, I mean, SQL database, it seems to do, well, it's doing self.query. Okay, database name. Let's make sure self.query. Yes, it works with that. So, right. So I think, well, I think the database, SQL database and our database view model both operate on just the name. knowing that all names will implicitly be in the documents folder, at least on iOS. Mac OS could be different. We haven't dealt with that. So normally the DB name we pass in is fine because it gets converted to the path down here at the low level. This was the one that came from that other file that was doing all the low level stuff, and we just pulled in query because everything else kind of operated on a closed database or as a test thing. So I think having just that database name there is okay, but it is, on the other hand, it is blowing up somewhere. So I think let's move forward and see if we hit this code. So I think what'll happen is we generate the list of tables. We've already done that. We've selected, we've tried to open, tried to update the database view model. And I think at some point we'll come back down here to generate either a query about all tables or a query about the specific table we include, which we know is wrong. Okay, so DB name is test2.db. Okay, that's the path. What's the query? Ugh. Can I print it or do I get a bunch of junk? Query column name. Pragma table info. Well, he seems all right enough. Let's see where it blows up. Okay, we got the prepare. Oh, I got a lot of rows. Oh, that's in the catch, sorry. Well, it's not the worst thing to catch on the error. Okay, so that should have been one column. All right, let's see our query. Person. Okay, so we did name and person. Yeah, this may be... No, I don't know. Registration. Okay, so we're going through all the tables, pulling out name. Okay, this one is trying to get all the fields. ID, table 0, table 1, table 2, the count. Yeah, with no joins, this is like multiplying stuff around, so it's kind of... It is... Well, okay, so that very slow pause was, let's do a Cartesian product of all these tables, which is definitely not what we want. And that's, here's the same thing with, okay, the tables, all those fields. Okay, continue. Another Cartesian product. So, yeah, so instead of a join that checks that things are equal, this just joins everything arbitrarily. So I had, I don't know, 50 or 80 entries in there in the name table. Oh, I don't know how many I had in the name table. I'm not sure. I have a bunch and I have a lot of classes, right? We had 4 classes times about 10 instructors and 40 So maybe it is a memory problem, but the message was not. But maybe it was a message for the database falling apart because of it. I'm going to kill that. Let's get it doing what it should do, and then critique what it's doing in actuality. Or let's make this thing work right, I guess, is what I'm really saying. Okay, so a database name and a table selection. And then table selection, I guess I'm going to create a test for it. So this should be, I don't need a table metadata, do I? I do. Okay, yeah, the test is a little harder to work with than I wanted. Here's database selection. All right, let me make sure tests are running. Let's just do that. Okay. Well. All right. It's a little weak in the sense that our new approach, if you click that button, it doesn't work right. So it hasn't yet ever. So I don't think it's a problem in some sense, but can you create a database with just one table and it can't join any? Yeah, I think we could, but I think the big thing I can do is go to database selection and let's get a test in for that. And it's got one function to test, which is this ToMemento. All right, so I need to open a new test. Database selection. Okay, so it's not really a zero test. We're going to say test creating memento. Let's say memento only includes active tables. Wasn't it table metadata? There it is. Okay, so the name is my table, and the columns, column 1, column 2. Okay. Okay, so I want to create a database selection. Convert value string to expected type string. Name is a string, columns is an array of a string. Name is a string. Columns is an array of strings. Connect for value of type array of string. Oh. Okay, now I want to make a table selection. Database selection. No, let's make table selection. And then table selection. You give it metadata, it creates selected columns. Okay. Right. Let's, I guess, includes active tables and columns. We'll start with the kind of easy default case. All right. So if we create this thing and then we create the table selection, and we make a memento, let target, I don't know, I used to use a better name for that. Equal, okay, we need a database selection too. Now this, we can change those. I don't think we can put them in, no, okay. So let's make this var. Do we want that constructor? Table selections equals table selection. Okay, all that is set up. Woof. All right, so we create metadata to say what a table has certain columns. We create a table selection for that, and then we update this. I think I can fold this in. Okay, we're not doing anything with it right now. Okay, and then we set the table selections, and if we take database selection dot to memento, okay, well, we'll call it memento. Yeah, so how does it decide to use which columns to use? No, it doesn't know anything about foreign keys. It only, the join section that we haven't looked at too much, but join says like table dot field equals another table dot field. So you would manually go in and say person dot, no, we could say like registration dot person ID equals person dot ID. Okay. And same on the other one. And so the restrictions are that you have to involve every table that you're including, because we don't want to get into this multiplying, arbitrary cases thing. But yeah, it's basically a manual process. There may be, well, you just can't know, because IDs, this thing says it's got an X foreign key. You could kind of guess that person foreign key is going to match to person.id or something by put a convention in, but we don't do that. Okay, so I think what I have here, I've got a table with two columns. I do the default selection and I ask for the memento. Well, now I should start seeing memento dot, come on, Where's DatabaseMomento? Okay, we'll just look at .table names should equal the table, and .selected columns should equal the columns. Table names should be my table, and the columns selected columns should be, this is this double array. We only have one entry, so okay, does this make sense to me? To anybody? At least me. Memento includes active table and columns. We create a table metadata to say there is a table with some columns. We create a database selection and set it to select that metadata, which starts out selected. We turn that into a memento, and we want to make sure the memento includes these things. Oh, you really don't want a comma, you want another. Okay, so it should include my table, which should have the columns, column 1, column 2. And this should pass. We're not messed up when you've selected the table. All right, now the next one, we're going to deselect. We're going to put in tables including a deselected table. All right, so this is, well, let's pull this one out. Whoops. Let's try variable. Okay. Let's call this table selection 1. Metadata 1. Okay, metadata 1. Ugh. I don't like these giant ones. Giant setup is not a good thing. Second table with column. Well, another column. Okay, we don't care what it is. All right. Now table selection is metadata 1. And we need a table selection 2 with metadata 2. Okay. And then we're going to modify one of them. Let's modify table 1. All right. So table 1, we're going to say dot includes table equals false. Okay. Table selection 2, and then the database is 1, 2. And 2. Okay. How's the setup? Property setter is, oh, how do I set that false? Toggle table. Okay, so we're turning off table 1, and therefore we should only get second table and another column. Okay, this one I think will fail. Memento includes doesn't include inactive tables. I expect it to fail. I didn't say that. Okay, that passed. Why? Why doesn't it show it passing? Let's run this again. Okay, that's more like it. We can fix this. Doesn't affect our test. All right, so what happened? Well, we got both tables, and since we had both tables, we pulled in a bunch of columns, right? Yeah. Okay. Now this. Okay, so result is all that stuff. Let's pull out the tables. Yeah, I'm not liking this, but okay. This is, let's make this selected tables. All right. And then this is the same thing. All right, but the difference is I want to filter tables where 0 dot includes table is true. Okay. And then this one is selected columns. Okay, now this one, well, I haven't put the test in for this one, but no, we got to coordinate it. So they need to be coordinated. This also goes in here. Okay. Again, we can do better on this, filtering it once and so on, but I just want to get it consistent first. All right, I'm going to be bold and take out the print that never should have needed in the first place, right? Okay, and that I think should now pass this test. Xcode failing to actually run it the first time, though, doesn't make me too happy. And I've done that again. Okay, that's better. Let's run. We still need to do a test for fields that are inactive as well. Okay, database configuration. Let's turn off this and this and only take the name. And we say open database, which probably does nothing. And then click the background, should work. One table or sorry, one column with the names of all the students in it. Hey, okay. Yeah, you could live the filter tables and map the columns using them. Yeah, I think I can just run, just hold the list of tables, valid tables, and then use table selections rather. Okay, but I had a lot of people. Oh, so our cross product was 175 times 40 times something else times every column separate or whatever, every table separate. So you're right. It may have been a memory thing in the database trying to manage that large query. A little disconcerting, but okay. Let's take this win for what it is. Okay, so only include tables that are marked to be included. Only in tables in configuration that are marked to be included. Yeah. And probably somewhere I'm not catching that message, maybe? I guess if it blew up on the initial open, but it didn't seem to do that. It seemed to blow up when we actually started trying to populate the database. But I'm not sure when that populating happened, so maybe it was included in that questionable try clause. Okay. Well, let's fill in the next piece off that test. I think I can base it on this one. Memento doesn't include in active columns. Okay, so we'll create the same initial table. Maybe I can pull that out. I'll do that later. All right, so we create this table, database selection. I guess I'm going to pull this one out too. Variable. This is table selection. Is that, but then let's do a toggle. Toggle column 1. Database selections is that. Create the memento. We should have my table column, my table, but not column 1, only column 2. All right. And did I do that here? This is more confirming, I think, because we did have to filter out selected column, selected tables. Oh, I guess I don't know the answer because it depends what we called to implement it. And I'm going to run it again and it's going to say, oh, it's fine. And then I'll run the whole test file and it'll say, oh no, there's a problem. Yeah, let's try this. It's very, I don't know. Okay, so it does say that really does run. Okay. Oh, and we saw it, I guess, when we manually did it. Let's see, what are we iterating over? Selected columns. Okay, so that's fine. All right, let's pull this one back over here. Database selection. Okay. All right, now let me pull this out again. Active table selections. Equals table selections dot filter. Okay, and this is also active table selections dot map. It could be less clunky, but oh, okay. This is much simpler. Can go on one line. Whoops. Okay. Now, well, that dash should have covered this, so that's good. Trailing white space. All right, now I think create a database model with a database config memento. We've done that. All right, so that's a good thing. 1204. Okay, now we got some cleanup and whatnot to do. Some decisions. Make open database. We need to make action trigger from open database button rather than clicking away. All right. Remove duplicate code between the controller and the database view to generate selections. All right. So I think we have dead code in the controller actually. So open configure. No. No, we don't want to open. We want to configure. Okay. I think did we pull that out? Database selection. Oh, maybe we don't do that anymore. Filter. Oof. Type it right. No. Where did that go? Database. The thing that's filling those tables. This. It must be in TableController. There it is. Oh, I was right there. Okay. Database selections is that. I don't think that really holds. I think I don't think it's doing anything. And I think this is I guess it's dead in the sense that if you said x equals 7, x equals 12, the second one takes precedence. I think what happens is we go in the database view model. It says if you change the current database, including initially setting it, then you should calculate the database selections, and we recalculate it, I believe. So let's run. Now I find it interesting. We're getting this error here. We haven't done anything yet, so I don't think that's related to us. All right, so I'll change it to test. We'll only include the person table. All right, and there is a table selection because it got set here. Open database and click away. Okay, so that's the person table. All right, so yeah, that is dead code. It's a question of where it best belongs, and I think saying it belongs on the other side is actually kind of reasonable, and it's certainly easier for us to get to in the Swift UI since. Okay, this, still not sure that's the right thing. Okay, let me just put a to-do to capture that at some point. I don't know. I don't know if we really need to worry about it, but in TableController configure database view, we use try. Is that right? Okay. Remove duplicate code. Yes, we've done that. Should we save config when this selection changes? I'm gonna save that one. It's a legitimate thing to do for sure. It's actually a really good thing. We saw how annoying it was. If you change back and forth, like at least save the last one. Maybe. Though, yeah, I don't know. You do change stuff. All right. Should ConfigMemento be a map table? Yes. That, I believe, is the right thing to do right now. Make Open Database sticky at the top. Well, I think I would do it at the bottom because that's the thing that lets you know you're finished. So just sequentially, you select a database, select the columns and joins, and then say open. Which there's a little ambiguity in there. Let's see. Is it because you removed null SQL the error? We did remove the null SQL database. Oh, that error on the other. Maybe so. But I think my point on this one is we're not. It happens before you do any database stuff. It happens when you're opening the memory version, the file version of it. So I think it's unrelated to what we're doing. The error on the save is always visible. Yeah, I think visible. I'm just thinking in terms of flow. It's the last thing you do is say open database, but it's also, well, what I don't like is there's a confusion about, are you opening things or are you saving things? And if you open it, if you went to all this trouble of configuring the foreign keys and joining and everything like that, it seems kind of bad that you don't save that and next time you come in you have to redo it. So it seems like saving it is the natural thing. Maybe it's save configuration and open database or something. I don't know. I don't know how to convey it the best, but odds are you want to save and odds are you want to open the database. So it seems like maybe that's, I don't know. I could do it better probably. I mean, open database could ask if you've saved it and do you really want to let it go? And if you don't want to save it, that's fine, I guess. But I do think this thing of clicking in the background to open the database is wrong. But let's move this. I think this one, I think the answer is yes. I just don't want to, I want to get the actual process more straight. I want the real flow to go right, even if we're not ideal on the other stuff. Make the action trigger from open database rather than clicking away. Okay, make the open. I think this will be bottom, but it should be sticky to make sure you know you have to do something. Should configure be a map table? Yes. Table doesn't update the view. Well, we're replacing the whole thing. Adding the joins we haven't dealt with. Select configurations rather than typing their name. Yeah, that's a good one too. Remove renaming. Add renaming of fields. Save config when database collection changes. Do we use try? Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good sized list there. All right, we see this text and it doesn't do anything, I don't think. I think it just prints. So let's look for that as text. Database view. Convert table selections to ConfigMemento. Well, I think all we want to do is close the screen. I forget how you do this. This whole thing is navigation view. Okay, we'll get to. We're finally in something that's different enough that I have to ask again. Okay, so Swift UI button to close. Well, I don't even know what you would call this, right? Table controller. He calls database config controller. And he doesn't really do anything with it. Dismiss you programmatically. That's what I'm trying to say. The new environment variable presentation mode. Yeah, that I think is the kind of thing we're after. Environment presentation mode. S15. Oh yeah, we got dismiss. Yeah, that's what I've been using before. Okay, and that's pretty easy. Button done dismiss. Okay. It's in database view. We have the environment, and then the button has to trigger it. Dismiss, and that environment creates a little function. Okay, make sure I did what they did. Yeah, just dismiss. We didn't do it as a toolbar sheet. I think that's showing up in the hosting controller is kind of taking care of that part of it. But let's make sure this does its thing. Yeah. Okay, that's just the one table. All right, so that's pretty easy. Make the config window dismiss when open database is called. Yeah, I don't know. We can maybe be able to see it from the hosting controller setup. We'll take a look here. I mean, it's a view, and I think the hosting controller can show it. Yeah, we'll take a break in a second here. Let's just see if we can tell from the hosting controller or anything. Configure database controller. I'm not sure I can tell. Custom class, UI hosting controller. I don't really give it anything to work on, do I? Yeah, it's UI kit. So I think this is this interoperability thing. It lets UI kit open views. So I think that's the thing it's deciding. It's just showing it there. It's not the main view. It's got to be a sub thing. Yeah, and I guess it doesn't care what you plug into it. Just a view is the only thing we've got to go from. All right, so yeah, let's take that break, like 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll come back. And I guess we've done that one. So maybe, yeah, we'll come back and do this sticky button, and that'll be a good step. All right, see you in a few minutes. Welcome back. All right, let's make database view. Let's put this button at the bottom instead of inside whatever it's in. Okay, and yeah, this is there's too much here. All right, that's all good. All tables view. This one's going to go away. That's fine. Section database joins. Section database view. And then lastly, this. We need to get this outside. So it's in the form. Maybe it's outside the form. That has tables. That's this. Well, we can move it down one for sure. I don't think I'm going to get that outside. You add a footer, or do you need to place it in a C stack? Well, I don't think a C stack is gonna. Yeah, let's check form. See, I guess part of it is Well, maybe I should flip the order of these two, right? Let's put this back. If there's no database, we can just put up this text. We don't need the form for that. I don't know if that makes things so much deeper. It's annoying. Well, let's revert. How come you're not showing up as a change? Now what is wrong? Oh, there's my M. Okay, good. That's better. Okay. So I'm not sure why. Well, let's put a form in a form for a moment here. At the end of this else, close the form. Okay, now this one is the navigation title. Oh, that's a form thing, huh? Yeah. Oh my, yeah. I lost. Oh, man. No. I lost whatever keystroke I had there. Edit. Oh, bracket. That one. Okay. But I fear you're right. I probably don't have this out where I want it. No. Now they have added a bunch of stuff to put footers on views, things like that. So the form is scrolling. Let's put this in a vertical stack. No, man, I was screwing everything up. All right, there's a form. I should be able to put a VStack around that. Now, there used to be embed in, and I don't know, they kind of took it away for a while, and then it was sort of back. Yeah, I think that may be gone now again. It was kind of handy. Okay, let's try this. VStack. Form. In the VStack. Okay, now. Let's try this. Oh, yeah, no, it's a form. But, okay, there we go. It could use a little love, but I mean, actually, I don't think that's a very good looking button for this. It looks better in a form, um, but we can adapt it. Button style. I think more of a capsule button would look better. Oops. Primitive. No, let's go to this. Yeah, this kind of button. But I'm curious what's the what are the alternatives to this thing? Why doesn't it tell us the options? Primitive button style. No. Here we go. Default button style. And let's just take this off and see what we get. Does this? I hate to even run a preview. I think it's bad enough for me and even worse for you all. Yeah, I need some padding at least. I'm hoping a capsule button will give us some, but we'll see. Or the default button. Nope. Okay. What else we got? Card, link, plane, bordered. There was prominent. Use dot prominent, bordered prominent to construct this style. So button style dot bordered. Interesting. That's something different. Okay. Yeah, a little padding, that would be acceptable. I'm still puzzling over that bordered prominent bordered, whatever it was. There's plain, bordered, prominent. Use bordered prominent to construct this. May not be available. Combine two things, I guess. Well, it's prominent. I guess that's hurting it. Yeah, it's kind of a mixed thing. Like the more you try and control, the less you know. I think it hopefully, whoops, wrong one. Hopefully it makes it white, yeah. Open database. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot to ask for that. Which seems like it should be part of it anyway. I think I can move that down too. Yeah, that's definitely better. I think that's gonna work. That's like the reason you're here. Bold and button style, and then if that extends any. Yeah. Tolerable. And also I'm running at a small size. This is probably more like the real size. Okay. Yes. Yeah, we don't need to scroll. And it would be easy to omit to do that if you wanted to, you know. I don't know if I can, if they click in the background, it's the equivalent of dismissing. And I don't know if that, if they click in the background, it's the equivalent of dismissing. And I don't know if that, we may need to draw that distinction. We can do it, but yeah. Okay. It's not our biggest problem. Okay. I guess I'm looking at two things and I don't know which way to go. One is the joins. Well, this is only useful for one table as it stands, unless you have the joins. It's also not enforcing any of the join rules, which it needs to do, or we'd like it to do. One path would be try and make the joins get them working, applied to this new style of open database, and not restrict them to this one. Now, I don't know how easy or hard that is. I do suspect that I've used classes and not structs, which is a little incompatible. Joins are required if there's more than one table. So you can just open one table and let it be the table. But if you want to have two tables involved, you've got to do a join, is the current requirement. Maybe we should go look at that view, just in deciding what to do here. So here's the join section, many joins. Now, again, like this one where you had to bounce into the table to do this stuff, I wouldn't mind something that lets you do that here. When I tried to do this 3 years ago, you couldn't fit that into the screen, and it just looked, I don't know, it looked pretty bad. I'd really like to make each of these. Now this, still funny. This should have been a scrolling thing too. Class, you should be able to choose class, person, or registration. This one does. I think I'm hearing. Yeah, I'm hearing a little click, 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 click as it goes. But I don't know, like if this one, like if these were each selectable for them across, and it just read class dot or registration dot class FK equals class dot ID or vice versa, the four fields you could select, I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with something that took a little more room vertically, but I don't want something that looks like this. That's just way too much. So I don't know. And then what happens when you add them? Well, this isn't even editable right now, so something's really not good. Oh, because this one it's still editing off the old selection. It's not on the new selection. And that's what the problem is. If you had this and it worked, you could add multiple tables and then involve them in the join. But as it is, we can only select one table. All right. So one thing would be like we went through the last week or 2 weeks, maybe, I can't remember, even more than a week, maybe 4 sessions, getting this thing created, hooked in, and working. We could do the equivalent for joins, just kind of start from scratch, or figure out what's going on with this and that. I think start from scratch might actually be a better solution, and that would be fine. The other thing is, the other side of it, or alternative, is we've got things like this where we know we have an awkward structure defined that's really makes that whole object work harder than it needs to, or it's not aware of the selection and stuff so well. That strikes me as a good thing to clean up. And then just kind of taking the consequences of that. I guess the other one I didn't mention, in TableController. So with this setup, we created a whole new screen for hosting controller for configure database. I don't think we need to. I think it's you could dispatch to the same one on two different segues if you needed to, and in the end, we're only going to have one of these anyway. So there's awkwardness around that, and clearly, Table Controller has gotten moderately big. Much of this is just configuration, view configuration. We had introduced some things in here, but I think we've got rid of most of those. Yeah. But we could do some cleanup on the UI kit side, which is a little more fraught. Should open database be disabled till you add joins? Okay. Yeah, I think if you have more than one table, it should. And somewhere we enforce that stuff. Maybe go back to the joins. Who enforces that? DatabaseViewModel? Yeah, I think it's DatabaseViewModel. Assess joins. Right, let's see what the rules are. Okay, if it's less than one table, don't worry about it. Check for tables not used by any joins. Okay, so if you haven't joined them, then it's not really a very good thing. Make sure the query does not form a cross product. Yeah, so that's all there is. It would be good to have those applied, and they get done, well, they get done when you add a table. We don't really do that now. Right, because when you edit this, yeah, I don't think it's going to act the same. And I also think perhaps DatabaseViewModel should become a struct. I mean, if we're pushing this through, active tables, active joins, configuration file name, it may be better off for that. We still have this cancelable stuff because of the kind of multi-level things going on. Where's active tables model? Let's see that. Yeah, that's the model our old one used. So DatabaseViewModel doesn't really need that. Okay. Well, I guess this is convincing me it'd be better to get joins working, and then once those are all working, we can see about the rest of this. Oh, this has duplicate table checker. Yeah, that was another thing, because you can add multiple tables and you can rename them. You could add the same table twice. And in those days when you can rename a table, like in here, I could rename class to being person, and then, oh my goodness, wouldn't that be fun? A real person table and another class table called person, So we do check that currently, but I don't think we'll need to if we stop renaming tables. We could rename fields, but it's less of an issue, I think, there, because they're always qualified by a table. Okay, I don't know. I guess I'm just pushing off this. I don't want to do the work of all these joins, but maybe that's the right thing. Oh, something else going on here. I don't know if these were... Oh, there was a UI issue. That's... Constraints. I don't know. Okay. UI kit. All right. So what what this would entail. So I think what we've done, we had table selection. We introduced this whole new model that is a table specification and database selection model that includes it. I think we should probably have a join selection model, and it knows, well, maybe there's just a join. I don't know if it's a selection per se. I don't know. But we need something to represent one table dot class, table dot column equals another table dot another column. And then we need something to represent the set of those. All right. So active joins is the model now. Right, and this level is where I'd like to make it one thing. Active tables. We need to know the active tables. Well, like if you had deactivated person, like you had person, class, person in registration, and you deactivated person, could I let you select a join? Yes, I think I could. But I think at the end I should warn you, like, you can't join to tables you haven't activated. And that would let you set the join first and then think about which tables were there if you wanted to. Boy, but now, I mean, when I think about doing this, I think this other suggestion Mudtruck 666 made about DatabaseConfigMemento being a map table, well, I mean, certainly the memento could, but it's the view model is probably reflecting that same model, right? I mean, that's kind of goes with the territory, I think. Active tables model. All right, so well, the joins needs to know the metadata, the list of all tables, and then it can do any of those at once. Yeah, so I mean, it could be the active tables, it could be the tables, and then constrain them afterwards. Because otherwise, right, even this one, I wonder if it works if you deactivate a table, how does it know what does it do with those joins you've already set that involve it? I got a feeling it might not deal with them properly, even if it worked. I guess if it doesn't work, it can't have that problem. Yeah, so I think what's going to happen, maybe it's not worth investing in DatabaseViewModel to do that stuff, because if I create a new model that is a join model, like I did the table selection, given metadata, it's table.field or table.column equals table.column. I think I'm stuck somewhere. And here, joins is strings. That's not really, well, it's doing some thinking when it gets it. Where's the initializer? joins, actor joins, we take the joins, we map them to the model, and that knows that the 4 strings correspond to the table column, table column. The active is just the ones visible. Yeah, so with the eyeball thing, so the tables you mark out, class is no longer active, or field name, person.name is no longer active. That's yeah. So joins can use any table. Yeah. So I think I don't know the model. I'm trying to remember when I was doing this 3 years ago and doing the thing. I could believe that it might be easier to work your way through the joins and then figure out, like, oh, you don't want to show ID or instructor FK, but you want to join on them. So even deselected, they can still participate in joins. That should be fine. Now, does it make sense to do a table? Yes, it does. Okay. No, I'm wrong about that one. Because yeah, connection table, you would never show the registration table. It's just full of a bunch of keys that you would never show. So it's perfectly valid to join tables that are not going to be visible. And I think that's why this was really using the eye to say it's visible or not visible, as opposed to, existing or not. Even if you could create a join that does stuff that has nothing to do with what you're showing, but it's the universe of all those things you want to display. Okay, well, I don't feel so bad about that one then. All right, so yeah, I don't think it makes sense to update database view model, because I think in the end we might be able to database selection might be the same as database view model. And I also kind of think if you look at that config on up here, right, we had a pretty simple time going from our database selection to this. Well, maybe database selection should be the codable thing that represents the configuration stuff at this point, and then you could just load from that directly. You don't need this yet another object in there. So everywhere I look, there's plenty of stuff that we can do. It's just kind of hard to figure out what's the best order for it. But the possibility of not needing database view model with its cancellables and nested models and all that stuff that Swift doesn't really care for, if we've switched to the other struct model, we don't have to worry about this. So that kind of makes that much more tempting, which means don't bother investing in this. The only thing I'd take from this is that assess joins, right? I've got 3 rules in there that I probably want to repeat those. So yeah, looks like a couple. Yeah. All right. So here we are. We're in for another several sessions of getting joins working. Now, yeah, let's just do it. Database view. Well, I'm calling this all tables, so maybe I'll call it all joins just for symmetry of it. Is that this? Yeah. Okay, database view joins. Let's make all joins. And I'm going to take that out for now. And make one. Okay, let's get this spelled right up here. Now, okay, let's just see that working. Then I'm going to do some more cleanup. Okay, so we should see joins, all joins view with a button that we can't use. Okay, good. Let's push this. Let's get to update. Should that? Yes, that probably should. Okay, let's add new structures for joins. All right, so one thing I want to do is pull out these other views, the keepers. Okay, we got one table view, all tables view. So let's pull these two out. And I guess they will go in here. Okay, that's an improvement. Database section. No, that's the bottom section. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and that was mostly, this thing's big enough on its own, a little bit less scrolling around if we have this separate. I don't know, maybe that argues to make it even more separate already. Let's do that. It's easier to scroll between or flip between two files, all right, than it is to scroll that far. Okay. So, where's our database selection? Yeah. Okay, so I think down there, no. Oh, yeah, he is the observable object. Right, but these are structs. Yeah. Okay. So I think what we need to happen is this thing should own the list of joins. And they don't exist yet. I don't even know if we have a join object. Open join view model. No. So even that is okay. Well, I think okay. Expected pattern. Okay. I think that gives us something to work from. All right. Again, I think I'm not changing anything yet. All right. Not sure where to pick up the thread. At table controller, well, no, maybe it's database view. Well, I want to initialize the joins, but they started empty, so they're fine initially. But then in here, where's my all joins? Right, this thing is probably not right. What did we do in ours? All tables view. All right, well, all tables view takes database selection. All right, this one has the database selection and it passes stuff down. So I would certainly expect that all joins must need the model for the joins. Where is that visible? All tables view takes the database. Sorry, excuse me just a minute. All right, let's see. I missed another message. Joins can use in table, yes. Can use two tuples for the joins and type. Yeah. Yeah, I'm missing something there, right? I mean, maybe they should just be little mini structs, right? It's just a choice. Yeah, so even something this simple, what do you call that in a join? I don't know if I have an actual plain old database book here even to look at on that. I used to have a bunch of database books and they just kind of disappeared over time. All right. Let's see if we can answer that here. What do you call the terms in a SQL join? Yeah, and I'm only doing the simplest joins. Maybe SQL syntax. Oh, this stuff kills me. Is that really what the SQL says? Some of these you can't get access to the documents. Somehow that just seems wrong. Who else might have it? Well, I really want reference material, not training. Is it keys? Yeah, I don't know if I ever knew a name. Join clause. Table factor. Table name. Table reference could be a joined table. Or a table factor. Table name, partition, as, alias. Where's the columns? Table subquery as alias column list. Column list. Reference. Okay. Where's this thing used? Oh, using. But they don't have table. Where's the dot reference stuff? Oh, table reference. Escape table reference, escape table reference. Table reference or OJ. Wow, that doesn't really match up my... It's like this from this on ordered equals. Yeah, where's the equals? And you don't have to use equals, right? A table reference is also known as a join expression. Okay, it's the on. I'm missing something, I think. Document. Yeah, all right. I don't care about all those. Spatial. Oh, there's on. Okay. Search condition. It's not in their syntax. Okay. That's got to be the thing with the equals on it. Okay, I don't think there's a good name, but we got to give it one. Yeah, equals is the join condition, seems right. Reference. Yeah, let's call it a join reference. I don't know if I'm getting too atomic here or not. But we do need those as separable things at some point, I suspect. All right. Nobody cares what join is at this point, though. I mean, nothing's depending on it. All right, so let's get that checked in. Update, join, struct. Okay, so well, we've added new structures for joins. Um, Connect join structure to the view, I guess. I'll say it that way, just to give us somewhere to pick up. All right. Well, I just do all inner joins with this. You could get arbitrarily complex for sure. My theory has been if I can get kind of the 95% case, then you could always go in your database and convince them to add a view for you, one of those virtual tables that's got all the joins and stuff with any complicated join you want. If they, if they really need something crazy, I don't want to have to do it in general. Like I don't want to include all of SQL in what I'm doing. I just want to get something that gets me through these 99, 95, 99% cases. So, yeah, I'm punting on stuff for sure, but I think it's okay. I'm not trying to do outer joins and any of that stuff. You might have a case for it, but like the registration example I have, even though that's sort of a subset of a real registration system, it's enough for me to pull something together and say, this is a pretty normal case for what I expect to do with this. So I've gone on that philosophy. All right. Well, we did well in terms of getting the tables and the selected columns, visible columns and visible tables together. And I think that's going to be kind of a model for the joins as well. They'll need a little more information. They need to know the metadata basically to do their job. But I think a new join picture, and then we'll look at DatabaseViewModel if we really need that, or if what we have is kind of sufficient for that. I'd like to make the Swift UI stuff work with structs in general, because that does seem to be a more effective way to go. All right. Thank you all for today, and I will see you tomorrow, 2 to 4:30 Eastern Time, 7 to 9:30 p.m. East UTC. And thanks again. Take care. Bye bye.